back to Trojans Live. Jordan Moore, John Jackson, and the head coach of USC Women's Golf sits down with us now, Justin Silverstein. And Justin, I said we were going to meet you at the top. We've known you for a while. A lot of people in the Trojan family have known you for a while. You are in a new position, though, now for the first time, after serving as an assistant for both teams. Off to a nice start. 2 wins in 3 tournaments. This is an easy job.
Yeah, it's been pretty good so far.
What's gone well so far? Why have you guys been able to hit the ground running so quickly?
Well, I inherited a very, very talented roster. Young, but incredibly talented. And we've had some really, really good individual performances at our first 3 events. Our freshman, Malia Nam, finished 2nd at the Annika Intercollegiate to start the year, which was a great way to start her career. That was a monster event, probably a top 2 or 3 event of the season. Then rolled into Windy City for Northwestern's event, and Gabriella Ruffles got her first collegiate win to kind of lead us to a win there. And then this last week was a really, really good team effort with Aliyah Abdogani leading us. She finished 4th individually, and then Jennifer Chang finished 5th individually. So we've had some really, really strong performances and some really strong fields early.
You know, you lost 2 All-Americans last year, to graduation, or they moved on from USC. How tough is it to sort of be in rebuild mode, but you're really not in rebuild mode because this team is so talented? Yeah,
with Mooney He and Robin Ree turning pro, things are tough, but that's something we've kind of always understood was going to happen here at USC. If you recruit the players that we're playing with the way the LPGA system and PGA Tour system for our men's team is set up, we're going to lose All-Americans, and every team is. So that being said, we've kind of always had backup plans with our verbal commits, like Jennifer Chang committed to us when she was 15 years old, and we had a conversation with her like, listen, there's a good chance Lily He's not going to be here for 4 years. We recruited her when she was 13, and we thought she might be here for a year,
13.
maybe 2. Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
And so kind of Jennifer was on standby to get the call, like, listen, we need you to get ahead in class if that's okay with you. And usually they jump on board because they want to turn pro as soon as they can as well.
Talk to us about that process, about the turning pro, because I know that, it's sort of similar to football players that they can, they leave for the draft early or can turn pro early on their own accord. How much is that factor? I mean, that has to be a major problem or concern for you in terms of when it's time to go, the advice you have to give them when it's, if and when it's time to go, and all the dynamics surrounding that, because you have to build a program as well.
Yeah, there's a ton of dynamics surrounding it. I mean, you got families, you got club manufacturers who are involved in it, you got agencies. So similar to other sports, we kind of fight the battle, but we try to just have conversations with the kid at the end of each semester, not just at the end of the year, about when it's time and where their game's at. And, they usually know when it's time. You have a lot of agents following your groups during college events. Club manufacturers are kind of more involved in talks with you about kind of what are you thinking about doing. Once you turn pro, can you get some starts on the tour? And that's really the big thing. If you can get with an agency that can get you some starts, it might be time to go because it gets you the starts, and then you can get your status that way.
I wish everyone who gets so outraged about men's basketball could listen to this conversation and understand that every single sport pretty much at USC deals with this. This is life in college now, getting them ready for careers, whatever their chosen vocation is. In this case, it's golf. Anyway, we'll talk about that another time. The reason you inherited such a great team is you inherited from a great coach, somebody that you learned from in Andrea Gaston. She moves on to Texas A&M. You also got to work with Chris Zambri the few years. What have you taken from the 2 of them that you'll take into your head coaching career?
So I learned a ton from Andrea. I mean, she brought me in when I was about 25 years old, and kind of just her coaching style was something to really take some notes from, because the way she handled her roster 1 to 10 was something that I'd never seen before. Whether you were starting in our lineup or were back at home, her feelings about you never changed, and she really cared about the individuals on a much higher level than I'd ever seen from a coach. And then as far as being with Coach Zambri the past 2 years, that was the most valuable time in my coaching career. I learned more from him in 2 years than I've learned from anyone else in my life. I modeled my coaching style after him. We changed our practice schedule the day I got the job to mimic what our men's team does. And what he does with his player development is something that no one else in the country does. And I can't thank him enough for all he's done for me in my career.
Okay, so I'm envious of you. I'll admit, you heard Jordan talk about my golf swing, and it does need some work.
Okay.
The one thing about my golf swing, though, is it would be a lot better if I was working with the indoor facility that you're working with, inside the McKay Center. Talk about a little bit about the facility a little bit, because it is something special. And how often do you guys use it as opposed to playing outside and going and playing real golf?
Yeah, so we built that about 4.5 years ago. Coach Zambri and myself were kind of tasked with building it. And as we were doing it, we had no clue what we were doing. We were just like, I hope people use it. It turns out they have. We're wearing through those very expensive screens pretty quickly. So we practice on campus 2 days a week. We use the football field, we use our simulator room in Heritage Hall, and we use our short game facility, which is behind the center field wall in baseball.
Okay.
And we kind of piecemeal some facilities together that way and have created a system of practice where we can keep our data and have a really data-driven practice schedule similar to what our men's team does to analyze games.
Take us back to sort of your golf love story. Yeah. Your dad played the game. Is that how you fell in love with it?
Yeah, so my dad played the tour in 78, 79, and 80, and he played all over the world. He played the One Asia Tour. He played the Australasian Tour. I think he played in Canada a little bit, and kind of I grew up with a club in my hand. I think I hit my first golf shot at about a year and a half over at El Caballero up in the valley up there. So, yeah, I grew up with a club in my hand from day one.
Talk to us about next week. I mean, the tournaments keep coming, and there's a big one coming up this week. The East Lake Cup, 4-team event. Give me sort of the breakdown of how the East Lake Cup, how you get invited first, and then
just so people know, last we saw East Lake, there were about 1 million people following Tiger Woods around on that golf course, right? So this is a big time golf course.
Yeah, the girls are pretty pumped to go back just because of that. But if you're a semifinalist in the national championship, you get an invite to East Lake. So 4 men's teams, 4 women's teams. And it was built to mimic the national championship. So we'll play 1 round of stroke play, and then 2 rounds of match play, and hopefully take home the trophy. The girls won last year, which was a big win. The team that I helped coach in 2015 won. So looking to win that thing for the 3rd time.
I was told to ask for your World Series prediction. What do you got for us?
I got the Dodgers in 6.
Dodgers in 6. You close it in Fenway.
Close it in Fenway. I think we.
You were a born and raised Dodger fan?
Born and raised, yeah, all LA sports. Raider fan, unfortunately, too, which has been a little rough this year. But
win some, lose some.
Yeah, exactly.
JJ, what's your World Series prediction?
I got the Dodgers in 7, though. I don't think they can get it done in 6, but I got the Dodgers in 7.
Listen,
I know I'm going away against the grain.
I hope I'm wrong. I'm a Yankee fan. I hope I'm wrong. I'll take the Red Sox in 6.
All right.
We'll see. We'll know more this time next week. All right. Thank you, Justin Silverstein. You can catch his crew in the links all season long, and check him out at usctrojans.com. Trojan fans, the Eckrich $1 Million Challenge is back. If you want to take the field and throw for $1 million when the Trojans host Notre Dame on November 24, visit EckrichFootball.com for your chance to win. Eckrich, the official smoked sausage and deli meat of the USC Trojans. JJ Scouting Report is next on Trojans Live.